was messing around with this new indicator I've been using called the Venture Wave, and I spotted something kind of cool in terms of the bull market for Bitcoin. There's been this revolving question: will the next Bitcoin bull market start early? Because of a lot of it having to do with all the ETF stuff that's going on right now, institutions coming on board, and all of the narratives that are going on, potential bullish cases for Bitcoin. Is it going to be early? And while I was just kind of looking at this indicator, it kind of occurred to me, first off, until this next halving, we have a little bit of a space, right? We have some time. This is a weekly zoomed out. It's very similar vibe pre-2020 halving. It's a very similar vibe pre-2016 halving. So I don't think, and I'm going to break down exactly why this is an indicator that is showing me what is most important. I don't think it's a matter of, are we going to get an early bull market? I think it's a matter of, will the time before the next halving and before the next bull market, the time that we have left, will it be painful or not? That's the question. And I think this indicator is really going to be helpful as a guide in relation to that. And just to give you an example, what is painful? Painful, you could just look back at the last cycle coming out of the last bear market. This is painful before the halving and then crazy bull market, right? If you can look at something that's less painful, you can go to the cycle prior. The cycle prior, kind of exciting. Whether or not a certain bull market trigger is happening here or not, doesn't matter. There's just higher highs and higher lows, and that is pre-halving, meaning it's not as painful as what happened in that last cycle. So that's the difference. And which one are we going to get? That's the question. And so I was messing around with this Venture Wave indicator, and just to give you a sense of what's going on here, this is something that I've been working on alongside a team that's been helping. Here's what's going on. There's a lot going on. It's a lot of confluence bringing into play just a lot of my favorite indicators. But the thing I just want to point out and just focus on is this area. It's the histogram area. So we have price action stuff happening on this indicator. We have oversold, overbought built into this indicator. And we have just kind of moving average indicator happening as well. So right here, it's the histogram. That's moving average data that I really want to focus on. And so what I want to do is I want to go back, and we can real quick, just for context of this, look at a monthly chart. It's no surprise, it's very evident that right now, Bitcoin is coming out of these bear market territories that we've been in previous bear market lows, right? No surprise when you zoom out on the monthly chart in terms of prior cycles. So when we go to this Venture Wave oscillator, you can just see a lot of different things triggering most recently. This green X, that is this band completely turning, all these lines just crossing each other and the band just making a reversal while the band is under 50 on this histogram. That's number one. Oversold trigger went off, which is to say it hit this oversold line. And this is the same exact thing that happened in the last bear market low. And then if we go to that even previous bear market in 2015, you can notice we got the X, but we didn't hit this oversold area, so we didn't get the oversold trigger, but that's okay. Now, here's where things get very interesting. We're trying to basically compare, and at least I should say I'm trying to compare the previous two cycles. Which one is more similar? This one back here, right? Or this one all the way back here where there's less pain. And the thing that I noticed on this Venture Wave oscillator is this. We have all of this like synergy, reflection happening in terms of where we are coming out of this bear market. A lot of similarities, but there's one thing that is very different. That is to say, this 50 line on the histogram, you can see the band all approaching. Once these lines all cross above that 50 line, we get this bull trigger, right? So we can go back here in 2016. There's the bull signal. That's what we're waiting for. That is not the bull market doors. That is also built into this actual indicator, but it's that bull signal. And here's what separates 2019 from 2015. We got these lines crossing above 50 line, right? And what was happening at the same time, though, that happened is this histogram was purple. And that is a very big deal. That's moving average weakness on a macro level, right? And what does that really illustrate on this chart? It illustrates the weakness that Bitcoin did kind of go into for a multi-month. Now, if you look at the previous cycle, when those lines were crossing above, you can see these lines crossing above the 50 line on this histogram. Look at all the turquoise. That's bullish. So those are the two differences. And when we're looking at where Bitcoin is right now with this band, you can just see if this continues to the upside and it finally does cross the 50 line, what will this histogram show? Will it be purple as it was in 2019, which I think is a really nice visualization of pain, or will it be turquoise as it was back here? And I guess I should say 2016 because that's when that happened. So 2015 into 2016 turquoise, and that's when we had the higher highs, higher lows, even before we broke the bull market doors leading into that 2016 halving. That's the difference. And that's something we just don't know at this exact moment. But this histogram right now, I think, is going to be a huge visualization tool. Once all of these lines approach 50, is going to be a really big deal. Want to also just point something out. You can see the last time that all these lines did cross 50, you see this bull signal that happened. That was post 2020 halving. It was also right around the time that our bull market doors indicators were going off. And if I zoom out, you can see those indicators entering bull market doors and then bull market doors. And you can see that bull signal going off right there. Now, if we're trying to understand, well, why did this bull signal not go off here? Well, that is because when we're looking at this purple bearish indicator happening on the histogram and the lines we're crossing, we need turquoise. We need turquoise for that bull. And so you can just see on this indicator, we didn't get turquoise, right? So will there be turquoise here or will it be purple? That's something I'm watching going into this next cycle. And when we really think about how much time we have left until the Bitcoin halving, and you can just see kind of, if I open up a price chart here, when we're talking about how much time we have left, we have a good amount of time, right? So this is going to be, I think, a big indicator to track 280 days, what is happening with that histogram in terms of these cycles. And that's something that I very much will be tracking. So let me know your thoughts, everybody. Do you think, number one, we're going to get an early bull market? And that's not so much my priority right now. I'm not so quick to think that. That is to say, Bitcoin's breaking $48,000, $58,000 pre the Bitcoin halving. I don't think that's going to happen. Do you? But more importantly, the time leading into the next halving, how painful or not painful will that be? I think that's a more important question because that's really what tests the macro-minded, the macro mental state and strength and fortitude of crypto holders. So wanted to break that down. I just was looking at that. I thought it interesting. And that's it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.